Part 1 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Come whoam to thy childer and me. Aw've just mended th' fire wi' a cob. Owd Swaddle has brought thee new shoon. There's some nice bacon collops o' thob, an' a quart o' ale posset i'th oon. Aw've brought thee t'up quart, dost to know, for the rain's comin' down very dree, an' th' hearthstone's as white as new snow. Come whoam to thi childer an' me. When Aw put little Sally to bed, hoo cried 'cause her feyther weren't theer. So Aw kissed th' little thing an' Aw said that I'd bring her a ribbon fro th' fair, an' Aw gav her a doll, an' some rags, an' a nice little white cotton bow, an' Aw kissed her again, but hoo said 'at hoo wanted to kiss thee an' Aw. An' Dick too, Aw'd sich wark wi' him afore I could get him upstairs. Tha told him tha'd bring him a drum, he said, when he sayin' his prayers. Then he looked i' my face, an' he said, "Has the boggart's ta'en howd o' my dad?" An' he cried till his een were quite red. He likes thee some weel, does yon lad. At th' lung length Aw geet 'em laid still, an' Aw hearkent folk's feet 'at went by. So Aw iront o' my clothes reet well, an' Aw hanged 'em off th' maiden to dry. When Aw'd mended thi stockins an' shirts, Aw sit down to knit i' my cheer, an' Aw raly did feel rayther hurt. Mon, Aw'm only when thou arn't theer. Aw've a drum an' a trumpet for Dick, Aw've a yard o' blue ribbon for Sal, Aw've a book o' babs an' a stick, an' some bacco an' pipes for mysel'. Aw've brought thee some coffee an' tay, if thou'll feel i' my pocket thou'll see. An' Aw've bought thro' a new cap to-day, but Aw always bring summat for thee. God bless thee, my lass, Aw'll go whoam, an' Aw'll kiss thee an' th' childer aw round. Tha knows that wherever Aw roam, Aw'm fain to get back to th' owd ground. Aw can do wi' a crack o'er a glass, an' can do wi' a bit of a spree, but Aw've no gradely comfort, my lass, except with yon childer an' thee. What ails thee, my son Robin? What ails thee, my son Robin? My heart is sore for thee. Thi cheeks are growin' thinner, an' th' leet has laft thee ee. Thou trails about so lonesome, an' looks so pale at morn. God bless the lad, Aw'm sorry to see thee so forlorn. Thi footsteps sadly awtert, Aw used to know it weel. Now, art a fairy stricken, or art a gradely ill? Or hast ta bin wi' th' witches, i' th' clough at deep o' th' Neet? Come, tell me, Robin, tell me, for summat is not reet. Eh, mother, dunnot fret ye, Aw am not like mysel', but 'tisn't lung o' th' fearin' that han to do wi' th' dale. There's nought 'at thus could daunt me, i' th' clough beneath o' day. It's yon blue een o' Mary's, they'n ta'en my life away. Aw doubt Aw've done wi' comfort to th' day that Aw mun dee, for th' place hoo sets her foot on, it's fairy ground to me. But oh, it's no use speaking, Aw cunnot stun her pride, an' when a true heart's breaking, it's very hard to bide. Now, God be with her, Robin, just let her have her way. Hoo'll never meet thy marrow for mony a summer day. Aw just the same wi' thi feyther when first he spoke to me. So go thi ways an' whistle, an' th' lass'll come to thee. The Grindlestone. It were Dodia Joseph's, a joiner by trade, a comical cowt, an' a keen bitten blade. He're as fause as a boggart, as th' neighbours weel knew, though when he'd a mind he could look like a foo. Derry down. But th' bravest an' breetest o' th' childer o' men may haply be hampered a bit now an' then. Dody's axe wanted grindin' one wark-a-day morn, when there nobody about to gi' th' grindle a turn. Derry down. Then he grunted an' mumbled, an' glendert around, an' he tooted about o'er the neighbouring ground. Still never a soul to turn th' stone could he find, an' it made him a little bit thrutched in his mind. Derry down. Till a soft-looking urchin come wanderin' by, wi' his thumb in his mouth an' a tear in his eye. Wi' his slate an' his satchel he'll creep into schoo', An', bi the look of his e'es, Dody know'd he're a foo'. Derry down. "Bith maskins," said Dody, "I'm loosent at last," An' he beckoned a th' lad that were wanderin' past. "Come hither, my tight little maister o' men." Then he poo'd out a sixpence and fobbed it again. Derry down. "There's a grindlestone here, dosta think thou can turn? If thou doesn't know how, I can help thee to larn. I connot howd th' axe an' turn th' hondle mysel'. Thou'rt a nice lad o' Sunbury's. Come, give us a twell." Derry down. Th' lad laid howd o' th' hondle, an' shaped like a mon, For he lippent a sixpence when th' turnin' were done. So he twirlt at this grindle o' Dody o' Joe's, Till saut water tricklet off th' end of his nose. Derry down. Dody felt at his axe, an' he said, "Thou young foo', Thou'lt get a rare twiltin' for stoppin' fro' schoo'. Either off like a red shank, or th' door may be teen'd." An' he gav' him a bit of a lifter beheend. Derry down. The lad dried for his forehead the breet briny drip, An' he piked up his books wi' a whimperin' lip. An' he crope off to schoo', turnin' o'er in his mind Th' first lesson he'd larnt i' the pranks o' monkind. Derry down. As yo're wanderin' through life, tennet one that yo'n find A good lot o' folk that han axes to grind. Give a turn when you con, but remember to th' end, It's turnin' the wrang road to turn on a friend. Derry down. God bless these poor folk. God bless these poor folk that are strivin' By means that are honest and true, For summat to keep 'em alive in this world that we're scramblin' through. It's the life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. It's the life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. This world's kin to trouble. I' th' best on't there's mony sad changes come round. We wandern about to find rest on't, An' th' worm yammers for us i' th' ground. May he that'll watch while he's able Be never long hungry nor dry, An' th' childer 'at sit at his table, God bless 'em wi' plenty, say I. It's th' life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. An' he that can feel it a pleasure To leeten misfortin an' pain, May his pantry be allus full measure To cut at an' come to again. May God bless his cup an' his cubbert 1,000 for one that he gives, An' his heart be a bumper o' comfort To th' very last minute he lives. It's the life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. And he that scorns ale to his victual Is welcome to let it alone. There's some can be wise with a little, An' some that are foolish wi' noan. An' some are so quare i' th' natur That nought wi' their stomachs agree, But he that would leifer drink wayther Shall never be stinted by me. It's th' life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. One likes to see hearty folk wortchin', And weary folk havin' a rest. One likes to hear poor women singin' To th' little things laid o' their breast. Good cooks are my favourite doctors, Good livers my parsons shall be, An' ony poor cratur 'at's clemmin' May come have a mouthful wi' me. It's the life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. Owd Time is a troublesome codger, Keeps nudgin' us on to decay, An' whispers, "Yo're nobbut a lodger, Get ready for goin' away." Then lets ha' no skulkin' nor sniv'lin', Whatever misfortin's before. God bless him that fends for his livin', An' howds up his yed through it o'. It's the life of a mon's full o' feightin', A poor soul that wants to feight fair Should never be grudged of his hatin', For th' hardest o' th' battle's his share. Come, Mary, link the arm i' mine. Come, Mary, link the arm i' mine, An' lilt away wi' me. An' dry that little drop o' brine fro' th' corner o' the e'e. Th' mornin' dew i' th' heather bells a bonny bit o' weet, That tear a different story tells, it pains my heart to see't. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. No lordly o'er th' country sides, so pleasant to my view, As th' little corner where abides my bonny lass an' true ; But there's a nook beside yon spring, an' if thou'll share with me, Aw'll buy thee th' bonniest gowden ring that ever thou did see. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. My feyther's gan mo' £40 i' silver and i' gowd, An' a pratty bit o' garden ground at th' mornin' side o' th' fowd, An' a hondsome Bible, clen an' new, to read for days to come ; There's leaves for writin' names in too, like th' Owd Enoc's o' whoam. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. Our Jenny's bin a buyin' in, an' every day hoo brings Knives an' forks an' pots, an' irons for smoothin' caps an' things. My gronny's sent a kist o' drawers, Sunday close to keep, An' little Fanny's bought a glass, wheer thee an' me can peep. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. Our Thomas sent a bacon flitch, our Jem a load o' coals, Our Charlie's bought some picters, an' he's hanged 'em up o' th' walls. Owd Posy's whitewashed th' cottage through, our Matty's made it sweet, An' Jack's gan me his Jarman flute, to play bi th' fire at neet. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. There's cups an' saucers, porritch pons, an' tables, great an' smoo', There's brushes, mugs, an' ladin' cans, an' 8 days' clock an' o'. There's a cheer for thee, an' one for me, an' one i' every nook. Thi mother's has a cushion on't, it's the nicest cheer i' th' rook. So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. My gronny's gan me th' 4-post bed, wi' curtains to't an' o', An' pillows, sheets, an' bowsters too, as white as driven snow. It isn't stuffed wi' fither down, but th' flocks are clean an' new. Who says there's honest folk i' th' town that's made a worse'n do? So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. Aw peeped into my cot last neet, it made me hutchin' fain. A bonny fire wur winkin' breet i' every winder pane. Aw marlocked upo' th' white hearthstone, an' drummed o' th' kettle lid, An' sung, "My neest is snug an' sweet, Aw'll go an' fotch my brid." So, Mary, link thi arm i' mine. End of Part 1. Part 2 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chirrup. Young Chirrup were a mettled cowt, his heart and limbs were true. At foot race, or at rosslin' bout, or aught he buckled to. At wark or play, reet gallantly, he laid into his game, An' he very fond o' singin' brids, that's how he geet his name. He as straight as ony pickin' rod, an' limber as a snig, An' th' heartiest cock o' th' village clod at ony country rig. His shinin' een were clear an' blue, his face were frank an' bowd, An' th' yure about his monly brew were crisped i' curls o' gowd. Young Chirrup donned his clinket shoon, an' started off to th' fair. He swore by th' leet o' th' harvest moon he'd have a marlock there. He poo'd a sprig fro' th' hawthorn tree that blossomed by the way, "If ony mon says wrang to me, Aw'll tan his hide to day." Full sadly mony a lass would sigh, as wanderin' slyly near, They tooted at his een to spy if love were lurkin' theer. So fair an' free he stept the green, an' trollin' out a song, Wi' leetsome heart an' twinklin' een, went chirrupin' along. Young Chirrup woo'd a village maid, an' hoo wur th' flower of o', Wi' kisses kind i' th' woodland shade, an' whispers soft an' low. I' Mally's ear 'twur th' sweetest chime that ever mortal sung, An' Mally's heart beat merry time to th' music of his tongue. The kindest mates this world within mun sometimes meet wi' pain, but if this pain could life begin, they'd buckle to again. For though he are hearty, blunt and tough, and mally, sweet and mild, for 60 year through smooth and rough, who lad him like a child. The dules i' this bonnet o' mine. The dules i' this bonnet o' mine, my ribbons'll never be reet. Here, Mally, whoam like to be fine, for Jamie'll be comin' to Neet. He met me i'th loan t'other day, who were goin' for waiter to th' well, an' he begged that Aw'd wed him. May, bi'th mast if he'll let me, Aw will. When he took my 2 honds into his, good Lord, how they trembled between, an' Aw durstn't look up in his face, because on him seein' me een. Me cheek went as red as a rose. There's never a mortal can tell how happy Aw felt, for they knows Aw couldn't ha' axed him mysel'. But th' tale were at th' end o' my tongue, to let it out wouldn't be reet, for Aw thought to seem forrard were wrong, so Aw towd him Aw'd tell him to neet. But Mally, thou knows very weel, though it isn't a thing one should own, if Aw'd th' pickin' o' th' world to mysel', Aw'd oather a Jamie unknown. Now, Molly, I've towd them my mind. What would to do if 'twere thee? Aw'd tak' him just while he're inclined, an' apparently bargain he'd be, for Jamie's as gradely a lad as ever stepped out into th' sun. So jump at thee chance an' get wed, an' do best thou con when it's done. Eh, dear, but it's time to be gwon. Aw shouldn't like Jamie to wait. Aw connot for shame be too soon, an' Aw wouldn't for th' world be too late. I'm over trembled to theel. Dost think 'at me bonnet'll do? Be off, lass, tha looks very weel. He wants noan o' th' bonnet, tha foo. Willy-ground. The night before Larry was stretched. Come, Caleb, and saddle thee shanks, and let's ha' no more o' thee bother. Wi' thee camplin' din o' thee pranks, thou'rt watchin' thysel' to a lother. Come, Nathan, boo up into th' nook. I know thou'rt a comical crater. Let's join at a conk and a smook, and a bumper o' wat rum and waiter. Fal-al-da-dal. We're neighbours and very weel met. We're aw merry lads o' good mettle. Here's Nathan, were never licked yet, and Caleb's i' farrantly fettle. Wi' a pipe and a tot and a crack, and a crony, I'm just i' my glory. So now I'll tip th' world fro' me back, and brast off wi' a bit of a story. Fal-al-da-dal. T'other day as I rovin' arout, I let of owd Robin o' Bumpers. He's a terrible gullet for grout, and at poachin' they sayn he's a crumper. But he's got at a tot and a tail, so we popped into Peter and Nancy's, and I said to him, go for some ale, or aught i' this hole that tha fancies. Fal-al-da-dal. As we croaked wi' our gills up to th' hob, th' owd layrock began for to twitter, and he towd of a ticklesome job, that sent us aw into a titter. One day when he a prickin' a hare, a bit of a whacker come o'er him, for just as he settin' a snare, th' owd owner o' th' lond stood afore him. Fal-al-da-dal. "Hello, what are you doing here?" Says Robin, "Why, nought, nobbut walking." "Walk off, then," cried he with a sneer. "This land belongs me where you're stalking." Says Robin, "You're reet, I'll be bound. But what's to be done? I can't tell, sir, for I'm like to walk somebody's ground, as I've none 'at belongs to mysel', sir." Fal-al-da-dal. This lond it's a ticklesome lot, to wrangle about it's a blunder, for whether one owns it or not, he'll very soon ha' to knock under. Both landlords and tenants mun flit, let's hope without fratchin' or frownin'. Then let us walk on it a bit, and then lend us a bit to lie down in. Fal-al-da-dal, lair holiday. A bit of a sing. Bill o' sheep shouters, Robin o' th' Dree, Rondle o' scouters, Twilter and me, we made Mally Grimes' owd kitchen roof ring one merry Yule time when met for to sing Tooraloo, Fol-de-day. Rondle sang counter, Robin sang bass, Twilter sang a max o' comical ways. The tenor were fine, Bill took it up well, and th' treble were mine, I sang it mysel', Tooraloo, Fol-de-day. The first were a psalm, the next were a sung, An' then we sang glees till thrack an' ook rung, an' merry owd Mal chimed in like a brid, as hoo tinklet to th' tune upo' th' owd kettle lid. Tooraloo falder day. "Stop an' rosin," cried Bill, "it's gettin' time. Weet your whistle," said Moll, "it sweetens the chime." "A tot a piece bring," cried Rondle, and then, like layrocks o' th' wind, we'n tootle again. Tooraloo falder day. We twittert an' sang till midneet were gone, wi' capers off whoam bi th' leet o' th' moon. As we wandert o'er th' moss, Bill lap shoulder he, an' "I'm fain that I'm wick," cried Robin o' th' Dree. Tooraloo falder day. Tommy Pobs. Derry down. Tommy Pobs wur a good-natured sort of a lad. He're a waver by trade, an' he wove for his dad. He were fond o' down craters, th' neighbours aw said, that he had reet in his heart, but he'd nought in his yed. Derry down. Nan o' Flups wur a lass that wur swipper an' strung, hoo'd a temper o' fire an' a rattlin' tongue. Hoo wur as hondsome a filly as mortal e'er seed, but hoo come of a racklesome, natterin' breed. Derry down. Nan had frittered away all th' fore-end of her life, for hoo'd flirted o' round, though hoo'd ne'er been a wife. But one day when hoo fund hoo were turnt 30 year owd, hoo began a bein' flayed, hoo'd be left out i'th cowd. Derry down. Then hoo tooted around among th' lads about whoam, an' hoo thought hoo'd a bit of a chance wi' poor Tum, an' hoo cuttert an' foodled an' simpert an' skenned, till hoo geet him as fast as a thief in th' far end. Derry down. Poor Tom were so maddlet in't heart an' i' yed, that I doubt he had deed if they hadn't been wed. But at last they stroke hands, and agreed to be one. Nanny tight'st him to church, and poor Tommy were done. Derry down. And when th' news o' this wedding geet down into th' fowd, folk chucklet, and thought that poor Tommy were sowd. And th' women aw said, "Nan's too mich for you, lad. He'd better ha' stopped till he deed with his dad." Derry down. But they bucklet together for better and wur, and at first aw were reet between Tommy and her, for they'd meeterly thick, both bi dayleet and dark, till th' waiter of life cool't 'em down to their wark. Derry down. Then Nanny soon changert, and come back to hersel', and hoo camplet and snapt as no mortal can tell. And poor Tommy Pobs soon fund out that his wife, though an angel at first, were a divil for life. Derry down. Though Nan proved to blister, and kept him i' pain, Tom were like an owd sheep, for he didn't complain, and he crope to his looms, and he kept waving away, but it made little odds, hoo went warse every day. Derry down. And hoo hectored and plagued him to sich a degree that mony a time Tom'd ha' been fain for to dee. Th' lad did aw that he could to keep thick wi' his wife, but it weren't in her nature to live a quiet life. Derry down. And it nettlet her so that at last hoo began to fling aught at his yed that come first to her han'. It were sometimes a pitcher, and sometimes a pon, and he didn't care what, if it let off owd mon. Derry down. And if that didn't vex him, her temper were sich that hoo'd nip up a tough-looking lump of a switch, and sometimes it lapped round his hide wi' a bend, and sometimes it come across Tommy's nose-end. Derry down. And thus, year by year, this poor couple toort on, till Tommy had grown a grey-yedded owd mon. Then Nanny took ill, and were laid up i' bed, and hoo flang no more pots at owd Tommy's white yed. Derry down. At last Nanny deed, and th' owd lad felt it sore, for if hoo'd been an angel, he'd not ha' grieved more. So he lingert by th' grave till they'd happed her up well, and then he come cryin' away by hissel'. Derry down. Toddlin' whoam. Toddlin' whoam for th' market rant, Toddlin' whoam content and cant, wi' me head i' me hat, and me feet i' me shoon, I'm fain to be toddlin' whoam. Toddlin' whoam for th' fireside bliss, Toddlin' whoam for the childer's kiss. God bless yon bit o' curlin' smook, God bless yon cosy chimbly nook, I'm fain to be toddlin' whoam. Toddlin' whoam for twitterin' sungs, Toddlin' whoam for prattlin' tongues, toddlin whoam to sink to rest, with wife and little brids i'th nest. I'm fain to be toddlin whoam. End of part 2. Part 3 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Sweetheart Gate. There's mony a gate out of our town end, but nob but one for me. It winds by a rindlin waterside, and o'er a posied lea. It wanders into a shady dell, and when I've done for the day, I can never sattle this heart of mine 'bout walking down that way. It's nor the garden, nor posied lea, nor way to rindlin clear, but down i'th vale there's a rosy nook, and my true love lives there. It's allus summer where th' heart's content, though wintry winds may blow, and there's never a gate so kind to th' foot as th' gate one likes to go. When I set off for sweetheartin', I've 1,000 things to say, but the very first glent o' yon chimbly top, it drives 'em o' away. And when I meet wi' me bonny lass, it sets me heart a gee. There's summat i'th light o' yon two blue een that plays the dule wi' me. When th' layrock's finished his wark aboon, and laid his music by, he flutters down to his mate, and stops till dayleet stirs i'th sky. Though Matty sends me away at dark, I know that hoo's reet full well, and it's how I love a true-hearted lass no mortal tongue can tell. I wish that Michaelmas Day were past, when waking time comes on, and I wish that Candlemas Day were here, and Matty and me were one. I wish this wandering work were o'er, this maundering to and fro, that I could go home to my own true love, and stop at Neet and Eawr. Owd Enoch. Owd Enoch o' Dan's laid his pipe down a thob, and his thin fingers played i'th white thatch of his knob. "I'm gettin' done up," to their Betty he said. "Dost think tha could doff me, and dad me to bed?" Derry down, etc. Then hoo git him to bed, and hoo happed him up weel, and hoo said to him, "Enoch, lad, how dost ta feel?" "These limbs o' mine, Betty, they're cranky and sore. It's time to shut up when one's getten fourscore." Derry down. As hoo pottered about, his poor winterly pate, th' owd cratur looked drowsily up at his mate. "There's nought on me laft, lass, do aw 'at tha con, but th' cratchinly frame o' what once wur a mon." Derry down. Then he turn't hissel' o'er like a chilt tiret wi' play, and Betty crept round while you're dozin' away, and his eelids sank down, th' owd lad muttert, "Well done! I think there's a bit o' sound sleep comin' on." Derry down. Then hoo thought hoo'd sit by till he'd had his nap o'er. If hoo'd sit there till then, hoo'd ha' risen no more, for he coolt out at th' world, and his een lost their leet, like a cinder i'th fire grate i'th deead time o' th' neet. Derry down. As Betty sit rockin' by th' side of his bed, hoo looked now an' then at Owd Enoch's white yed, and hoo thought to hersel' that hoo'd not lung to stay, if ever th' owd prop of her life should give way. Derry down. Then wonderin' to see him so sound an' so still, hoo touched Enoch's hond, an' hoo fund it wur chill. Says Betty, "He's cowd, Aw put summat more on." But aw wur no use, for Owd Enoch wur gone. Derry down. An' when they put Enoch to bed down i'th ground, a rook o' poor neighbours stood bareheaded round. They dropped sprigs o' rosemary, an' this wur the text: "Th' owd crater's laid by, we may haply be th' next." Derry down. So Betty wur left to tour on by hersel', an' how hoo poo'd through no mortal can tell. But th' doctor dropped in to look at her one day, when hoo wur rockin' by th' side of an odd cup o' tay. Derry down. "Well, Betty," said th' doctor, "how dun yo get on? I'm sorry to yure 'at yo'n lost your owd mon." "What complaint had he, Betty?" Says hoo, "I can't tell. We ne'er had no doctor. he deed of hissel. Derry down. Ay, Betty, said th' doctor, there's one thing quite sure. Owd age is a thing that no physic can cure. Fate will have a way, lass, do all that we con. When th' time's up, we's at to sign o'er and be gone. Derry down. Both winter and summer th' owd mower's at wark, siding folk out o' seat, both be dayleet and dark. He's slaving away while we snore in i' bed, and he'd slash at a king if it come in his yed. Derry down. These soldiers and parsons and maisters o' lond, he lays 'em i' th' ground with their mouths full o' sond. Rags o' riches, an owd greasy cap or a crown, he sarves o' alike, for he switches 'em down. Derry down. The mon that's larnt up, and the mon that's a foo, it mays little odds for they both han to goo. When they come within th' swing of his scythe, they mun faw. If yon root among th' swathe, you'll find doctors an' aw. Derry down. Our folk. Johnny gives his mind to books, Abram studies plants. He caps the dule for moss and ferns, and grewing polyants. For aught about mechanicking, Ned's the very lad. My uncle Jamie roots i'th stars, enough to drive him mad. Alick keeps a badger's shop, and teaches Sunday schoo. Joseph's welly blind, poor lad, Timothy's a foo. He's tried 3 different Macs o' trades, and allers missed his tip, but then he's the prattest whistler that ever cocked a lip. Matty helps me mother, and who sews and tents her Jo, at doing sums and sich as that. Me feyther licks 'em more. Charlie, well, there connot be another pate like his. It's o' crom full of ancientry and Roman openings. Tummy's ta'en to preachin', he's a topper at it too. But then, what's th' use? A bill comes in, and swears it winnot do. When t'one's been striving o' he con to awter wicked men, then t'other mays some marlocks, and convarts 'em o'er again. Abel's th' youngst, and next to Joe, my mother likes him t' best, who gives him brass aboon his share to keep him nicely dressed. He's getting in with quality, and when his clarkin's done, he's all as o'er the cricketing as shooting wi' a gun. My uncle Sam's a fiddler, and I fain could hear him play, for a set o' sun till winter neet had melted into day. For sich glee, sich tenderness, through every changing part. It's th' heart that stirs his fiddle, and his fiddle stirs his heart. And when he touches th' trembling string, it knows his thoughts so weel. It sounds as if an angel tried to tell what angels feel. And sometimes th' water in his een, that fun has made to flow, can hardly roll away afore it's blent wi' drops o' woe. And here's to Jone and Ab and Ned, and Matty and her Jo, and me feyther and me mother, and her t'other lads and o'. And thee too, owd musicianer, I wish long life to thee. A mon that plays a fiddle weel should never host to dee. Forgive one another. Come here, me bold cronies, I'll not keep you long. Come hither and hearken to me. I'll chant you a neighbourly snatch of a song, and the end of me ditty shall be, let's forgive one another. We're a wandering band in a ticklesome land, where never a mortal can stay. When you seen folk at's weary, lads, lend 'em a hand. And as we jogging away, let's forgive one another. This will-o'-the-wisp in a poor body's breast, it flutters the life of a mon. It plays him wild marlocks that rob him o' rest. A mortal may do what he con. Let's forgive one another. Like harp-strings we made of a different tone, and the minstrel he sits up aboon. To him every note o' the gamut's weel known. Let's hope that he'll keep us i' tune, to forgive one another. At neet, when a mother's her childer undressed, they paddle un up close to her knee, to whisper a prayer afore gooin' to rest, and th' sweetest o' strain unto me is forgive one another. Some liken to wrangle o'er nought but a name, and who are the mams and the dads. But gentle or simple it ends up the same. We're aw Johnny Butter'oth lads. let's forgive one another. When thinking o' life and its troublesome way, we'n very leet need to be proud. Strike ons while you're wick, for you're not long to stay. It's late when you're lapped in a shroud, to forgive one another. And now, as we never may or meet again, for th' future no mortal can see, I'll stick to me text, lads, and as it began, so th' end o' my ditty shall be. Let's forgive one another. Buckle 2. Good lorgeous days, what change there is upon this mortal ground! As time goes flyin' o'er one's yed, how queerly things come round! What ups and downs, and ins and outs! What blendin' ill and well there is in one poor crater's life, it is not for to tell. When mornin' blinks, mon lies and thinks about the comin' day. He lays his bits o' schemes so sure they connot roll astray. He cracks his thumbs, and thinks all leet just how it's planned to go, but when he looks things up at neet, he seldom finds it so. And when a storm comes, dark and loud, wi' mony a weary sigh, he toots about i'th slift as cloud to find a bit o' sky. He mopes and moans, he grunts and groans, and thinks his comfort's o'er, but th' minute th' welkin's breet again, he's pearter than before. Good luck to th' mortal that can stong good luck bout being proud, that keeps his yed fro' grewin' what, his heart fro' grewin' cowd, that walks his chalks and heeds no talks, but does the best he con, and when things are not to his mind, can bide it like a mon. Then let's be lowly when it's fine, and cheerful when it's dark. Mon ne'er were made to mope and whine, but buckle to his wark. It sweetens there, it leetens care, I never knew it fail. Go at it then, and let's tow fair, owd time'll tell a tale. End of Part 3. Part 4 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Neet 4. The wind blows keen through th' shivering thorns, and th' leet looks wild i' th' sky. Come, Tet, stir up that fire, and draw that kayther gently by. I've done me weshing, Gronny, and I've tidied everything, and now I'll sit me down to sew, and hearken th' kettle sing. Bring in some coals, and shut that door, it's quite a wintry day. Reach down that ham, for Robin likes a relish to his tay. Sweep th' grate, and set yon table out. Put th' tay-pot upon th' oon, it's getting on for bagging time, and he'll be comin' soon. The fire bruns clear, and th' house begins a looking brisk and breet, as th' time draws near when he gets back fro' town at th' edge o' Neet. It makes one hutched wi' glee to hear a favourite foot come whoam, and it's very fine to hearken when one thinks it's sure to come. Th' cat pricks up her ears at th' sneck wi' mony a leetsome toot, and th' owd arm-cheer i' th' corner seems as if it yur'd his foot. Th' window blinks, and th' clock begins a ticking loud and fain, and th' tin things winking upo' th' wall, they groon as breet again. Kettle's hummin' o'er wi' fun, just look at th' end o' spout. It's like a little sooty lad that set his lips to shout. Th' water drops 'at fall fro' th' tap are getting wick wi' glee, and you're fain, Gronny, too, I know, but noan as fain as me. Keep th' rockers goin' soft and slow, and shade that leet away. I think this little duck's o' th' mend, who sleeps so ill to-day. Doors on, me darlin', keep 'em shut, those teeny windows blue. Good Lord, if aught should happen thee, what could thee mammy do? Here, Gronny, put this cover on, and tuck it nicely in. Keep th' kayther stirring gently, and make very little din, and lap those dimpled hons away fro' th' frosty winter air. They line atop o' th' bit o' quilt like two clock-hammers there. But stop, who's laughin'? Come, hie up, me bonny little puss. God bless it, Dad's noan far off, let mammy have a buss. He's here, he's here. Tet, bring that cheer. Eh, dear, these darlings too. If it were not for this child to him, what could a body do? A lift on the way. Come, what's the use of fratchin', lads? This life's none so long. So if yo'n gether round, Aw'll try me under to sung. It may show a guiding glimmer to some wanderer stray, or haply give some poor owd soul a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, or haply give some poor owd soul a lift on the way. Life's road's full o' ruts, it's very slutchy an' it's dree, an' mony a worn out limper lies him down there to dee. Then floundering low i'th gutter, he looks round with dismay, to see if aught i'th world can give a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, to see if aught i'th world can give a lift on the way. There's some folk 'at mun trudge it, an' there's some folk 'at may ride, but never mortal mon can tell what chance may betide. To-day he may be blossomin' like roses i' May, to-morn he may be beggin' for a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, to-morn he may be beggin' for a lift on th' way. Goodwill, it's a jewel where there's little else to spare, an' a mon may help another though his pouch may be bare. A generous heart, like sunshine, brings good cheer in its ray, and a friendly word can sometimes give a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, and a friendly word can sometimes give a lift on the way. Like posies that are parchin' in the midsummer sun, there's mony a poor heart faints afore the journey to be run. Let's lay the dust wi' kindness till the close o' the day, and gi' these drooping travellers a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, and gi' these drooping travellers a lift on the way. Oh, soft be his pillow when he sinks down to his rest, that can keep the lamb o' charity alive in his breast. May pleasant feelings haunt him as he's dozing away, and angels give him up aboon a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, and angels give him up aboon a lift on the way. Jog on, me noble comrades, then, and so mote it be, that hond in hond we travel till the day that we dee. And now, to end me ditty, lads, let's heartily pray that heaven may give us, every one, a lift on the way. A lift on the way, a lift on the way, that heaven may give us, every one, a lift on the way. Yesterneet. I geet up a milkin this mornin', I geet up before it were leet. I ne'er slept a minute for thinkin' what Robin said yesterneet. I've brokken 2 basins i'th dairy, I've scorded me gronny wi' tay. It's no use a tryin' o' spinnin', me wheel's out o' trim to-day. It's oh yon Robin, his een ne'er twinklt so breet as he did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. Our Dorothy's singin' i'th shippen, our Jonathan's loungin' i'th fowd, our Tummy's at th' fair where he lippens, a swappin' his cowt for gowd. Me gronny's asleep wi' her knittin', an' th' kittlin's playin' wi' th' yarn. Our Betty's gone out wi' her gallon to th' chaps at their wark in the barn. It's oh yon Robin, his een ne'er twinklt so breet as he did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. An' th' lasses an' lads are i'th meadow, they gettin' their baggin' i'th hay. I yure them as leetsome as layrocks i'th sky on a shiny day. But little care I for their marlocks, I dunnot want folk to see, though I'm fitter for cryin' than laughin', there's nobody's fain as me. For oh yon Robin, his een ne'er twinklt so breet as they did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. When I crept into th' nook wi' me sewin', me mother peeped round so sly. Hoo knowed I were glentin' at th' coppice where Robin comes ridin' by. Then hoo come to me snurchin' an' tootin', an' whisperin', "How dost feel? Dost think I should send for a doctor?" But th' doctor hoo knows reet weel. It's o' yon Robin, his een ne'er twinkled so breet, as they did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. My feyther sits dozing i'th corner, he's dreamin' o' th' harvest day. When Robin comes in for his daughter, what'll my feyther say? Th' rosebuds are peepin' i'th garden, an' th' blossoms o'th apple tree. Oh, how will life's winter time find us, yon Robin o' mine an' me? Oh, yon Robin, his een ne'er twinkled so breet, as they did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. Then for kisses and blushes, and hurryin' to and fro, an' for sly sweet whispers that nobody but me mun know. Then for rings and for ribbins, and bonnets and posies fine, an' it's o' in a flutter, this little fond heart o' mine. For oh, yon Robin, his een ne'er twinkled so breet, as they did when he measured me finger for th' little gowd ring last neet. I've worn me bits o' shoon away. I've worn me bits o' shoon away, wi' rovin' up an' down, to see yon moorlan' valleys, an' yon little country town. The dule tak' shoon, an' stockins too, my heart feels hutchin' fain, an' if I trudge it barfoot, lads, I'll see yon town again. It's what care I for cities grand, we never shall agree. I'd rayther live where th' layrock sings, a country town for me. A country town where one can meet wi' friends and neighbours known, where one can lounge i'th market place and see the meadows mown. Yon moorlan' hills are bloomin' wild at th' endin' o' July, yon woodlan' cloofs and valleys green, the sweetest under th' sky. Yon dainty rindles dancin' down fro' th' mountains into th' plain. As soon as th' new moon rises, lads, I'm off to th' moors again. There's hearty lads among yon hills, and in yon country town, they'n far moor sense than prouder folk, I'll uphaud it for a crown. They wick an' wharm an' wark an' fun, wherever they may go. The primest breeds o' lads i'th world, good luck attend 'em o'. Last night I laughed the city throng, an' climbed yon hillock green, an' turned my face to th' moorlan' hills, with wayter in my een. With wayter wellin' in my een, I'll bundle up an' go, an' I'll live an' dee i' my own country, where the moorlan' breezes blow. Gentle Jone. I seed a thowtful chap one day, his face were mild, his toppin' grey, wi' wanderin' foot he went astray, down yon lone. I axed a lame old mon i'th road to tell me what that chap were called. Says he, I thought oich body knowed, Gentle Jone. Owd lad, said I, just look how ronk these daisies groon at th' edge o' th' bonk. Let's cower us down an' have a conk, just till noon. He poo'd a reech o' bacco out, an' cheese and muffin in a clout, an' then began to tell about Gentle Jone. Says he, some folk o' brass are fond, they cowd i'th heart an' cramped i'th hond, but yon's the flower o' this lond, Gentle Jone. His heart's as true as Guinea gowd, he's good to folk at's ill an' owd, childer poon his lap i'th fowd, Gentle Jone. I'd better crown his off to th' vale, to hear some crater's sorry tale. I've never knowed his kindness fail, Gentle Jone. O'er hill an' cloof, an' moss an' moor, he's reet weel known to folk at's poor, a welcome foot at every door, Gentle Jone. He tak's delight in roving round to quiet nooks where sorrow's found. He comes like rain to drufty ground, Gentle Jone. He's very slow at thinking ill, he'll pass a fort wi' reed good will, an' doing good's his pastime still, Gentle Jone. An' when I broke this poor owd limb, I should ha' deed except for him. He said no more, his een geet dim, mine were th' same. Owd Brid, said I, let's have a gill. No, no, said he, I'm noan so weel. It's time to paddle down this hill to th' owd dame. 'Twere nearly noon, i'th month o' May. We said we'd meet another day, and then th' owd crater limped away down th' green lone. And now let's do the thing that's reet, and then when death puts out her leet, we'll haply ston a chance to meet gentle Jone. End of Part 4. Part 5 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Tum Rindle. Tum Rindle loped fro' the Chimbley Nook as th' winter sun were sinkin'. I'm tired o' cowrin' here i'th smook an' wastin' time i' thinkin'. It frets me heart an' racks me brew, it sets me yed a stewin'. A man that wouldn't dee a foo mun up an' start a doin'. Then Mally, reich me Sunday shoon to ron me bits o' toes in, an' on me th' jog fro' th' top o' th' hoon, an' let me dip me nose in, an' come an' fill it up again, an' dunnot look so dowdy. There's nought can lick a marlock when one's brains are gettin' mouldy. Oh, lay the ruck o' neighbour lads, frisky cowts an' bowdens, an' let 'em bring the mams an' dads, we'n have it pranked wi' owdens. An' th' lads an' lasses, they shan sing, an' foot it leet an' limber, an' Robin Lilter, he shall bring his merry bit o' timber. An' Joe shall come, an' Jone an' Ben, an' poor owd limpin' Liger, an' Mal an' Sal an' Fan an' Nan, an' curly-pated Bijah. An' gentle Charlie shall be theer, an' little Dick the ringer, an' Mostyn Sam, Aw like to yer a snowy-yedded singer. I'll poo my gronny out o' th' nook, an' send for Dolly Maybo, for when hoo's gradely donned hoo'll look as grand as th' Queen o' Sheba. An' little Nell shall daunce wi' me, our Nelly's young an' bonny, an' when Aw've had a daunce wi' thee, Aw'll caper wi' my gronny. Then Mally, fill it up again, an' dunnot look so dowdy. There's nought can lick a marlock when one's brains are gettin' mouldy. We're young an' hearty, dunnot croak, let's frisk it now or never. So here's good luck to country folk, an' country fun for ever. Bonny Nan. Eh, Ned, owd mon, I feel as fain as th' preetest brid as sings i' May. Come sit thee down, I'll wear a crown, we'll have a rousing rant to-day. Let's daunce an' sing, I've bought a ring for Bonny Nan i'th Owd Dale. Then eh for fun my mopin's done, an' now I'm brisk as bottl't ale. Oh, guess, owd brid, what's bound to be, for I like Nan, an' hoo likes me. 12 months at after Robin deed, who looked so down, wi' ne'er a smile, I couldn't find i' heart or mind to cheap a weddin' for a while. I thought I'd bide, but still I sighed for th' morning cloud to clear away. I watched her een grew breet again, a layrock tootin' out for day. Then guess, owd brid, what's bound to be, for I like Nan, an' hoo likes me. My Nanny's fair an' trim an' rare, a modest lass, as sweet to see. Her een are blue, her heart it's true, an' Nanny's hardly 23. An' life's so strung when folk are young, that waitin' longer wouldna do. These moor-end lads, who turns their yeds, who's been a widow long enoo. Then guess, owd brid, what's bound to be, for I like Nan, an' hoo likes me. I've sin at Neet about a leet, a midge keep buzzin' to an' fro, then dart at th' shine, at look so fine, an' brun his wings at th' end of o'. That midge is me, it's plain to see, my wings are brunt, an' yet I'm fain, for wheer I leet I find so sweet, I's never want to fly again. Then guess, owd brid, what's bound to be, for I like Nan, an' hoo likes me. Tickle times. Here's Robin, looks fearfully gloomy, an' Jamie keeps starin' at th' ground. He's thinkin' o' th' table 'at's empty, an' th' little things yammerin' round. It looks very dark just afore us, but keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Though clouds may be thickenin' o'er us, there's lots o' blue heaven aboon. But when a mon's honestly willin', an' never a stroke to be had, an' clemmin' for want of a shillin', no wonder that he should be sad. It troubles his heart to keep seein' his little brids feedin' o' th' air, an' it feels very hard to be deein', an' never a mortal to care. But life's such a quare bit o' travel, a marlock wi' sun an' wi' shade, an' then on a bowster o' gravel they lay'n us i' bed wi' a spade. It's no use a poutin' an' fratchin', as th' whirligig's twirlin' around. Have at it again, an' keep scratchin', as long as your head's above ground. If one could but grope i'th inside on't, there's trouble i' every heart, an' those that'n the biggest o'th pride on't, oft leeten o' th' keenest o' th' smart. Whatever may chance to come to us, let's patiently hondle our share, for there's mony a fine suit o' clooas that covers a murderin' care. There's danger i' every station, i'th palace as much as i'th cot, there's anker i' every condition, an' canker i' every lot. There's folk that are weary o' livin', that never feart hunger nor cowd, an' there's mony a miserly cratur that's dee'd of a surfeit o' gowd. One feels, now 'at times are so nippin', a mon's at a troublesome scoo, that slaves like a horse for a livin', an' flings it away like a foo. But as pleasure's sometimes a misfortin, an' trouble sometimes a good thing, though we livin' o'th floor same as layrocks, we'n go up like layrocks to sing. Jamie's Frolic. One neet Aw crope whoam, when mi wavin' wur o'er, to brush mur an' wash mur an' fettle mi yure. Then trailin' about wi' mi heart i' mi shoon, kep tryin' mi hond at a bit of a tune, as Mally sit rockin' an' darnin' her stockin', an' tentin' an' bakin' i'th oon. The chilt wur asleep, an' mi clooas wur reet, th' baggins wur ready, an' aw lookin' sweet, but aw mazy an' nattle an' fastn't to tell what the dule it could be that wur ailin' mysel', an' it made me so naught that aw somehow a thought Aw could just like a snap at our Mal. Poor lass, hoo wur kinder because Aw wur queer. Come, Jamie, an' sattle thisel' in a chair. Tha's looked very yonderly mony a day. It's grievin' to see owt th'art wearin' away, an' trailin' about like a hen at's i'th mowt. Do, prither, pu' up to thi tay. They want some new flannels, they's getten a cowd. Thou'rt no they're so ugly, mi lad, nor so owd, but th'art makin' thisel' into nought but a slave, wi' wavin' an' thinkin' an' tryin' to save. Get summat to heat or they'll go out o' seat, for th'art watchin' thisel' into th' grave. Thinks I, th' lass is reet, an' Aw howd wi' her wit, so Aw said, for Aw wanted to cheer her a bit, "Owd cratur, I've noan made up mi mind to dee. A frolic'll just be the physic for me. Aw'll see some fresh places, an' look at fresh faces, an' go have a bit of a spree." Then bumpin' an' splashin' a kettle went down. "I'th name a good catty, Jem, where at a boun? An' what sort o' faces dost want? Conto tell? Aw doubt th'art for makin' a fool o' thysel'. The dule may tempt thoon, if Aw go without shoon. Aw'll see where tha goes to mysel'." Thinks I, th' fat's i'th fire, I mun make it no wur, for there's plenty o' feightin' to do out o' th' door. So Aw'll talk very prattily to her, as how, or else hoo'll have howd o' my toppin' in now. An' bi th' leetin' her een, it wur fair to be seen that hoo wur ready to rive me i' tow. If truth mun be towd, Aw began to be fain to study a bit o' mi quotin' again. So I said to her, "Mally, this world's rough enow. To fa' out wi' who's one likes best winnot do. It's a very sore smart, an' it sticks long i'th heart, an' egad, Aw said nought but what's true. Lord, how a mon talks when his heart's in his tongue. Aw roosed the poor lass, an' showed her wur wrong, till hoo took me bi th' hond wi' a tear in her e'e, an' said, 'Jamie, there's nobody as tender as thee. Forgie me, lad, do, for Aw'm nobbut a foo, an' bide wi' me now till Aw dee.' So we'n bide one another, whatever may come, for there's no peace i'th world if there's no peace o' whoam. An' now, when a random word gies her some pain, an' makes her a little bit cross in her grain, sunshine comes back as soon as Aw crack o' beginnin' mi quotin' again. Owd Pinder. Owd Pinder wur a rackless foo, an' spent his days i' spreein'. At th' end of every drinkin' do, he wur sure to crack o' deein'. "Go, sell me rags, an' sell me shoon. Aw's never lived to trail 'em. Mi ballis pipes are out o' tune, an' th' wint begins to fail 'em. Our Matty's very fresh an' young, 'twould any mon bewilder. Hoo'll wed again afore it's lung, for th' lass is fond o' childer. Mi bit o' brass'll fly, yo'n see, when th' coffin lid has screened me. It goes agen me pluck to dee, an' lev a wick behind me. Come, Matty, come an' cool my head. Aw'm finished to me thinkin'. Hoo happed him up nicely, an' said, Tha's brought it on wi' drinkin'. Nay, nay, said he, my fuddle's done wi' partin' Tom fro' t'other. So promise me that when Aw'm gone, tha'll never wed another. Th' owd tale, said hoo, an' laughed a stoo. It's really past believin'. Thee think o' th' world thee art goin' to, an' lev this world to th' livin'. What use to me can deead folk be? Tha's kilt thysel' wi' spreein'. An' if that's aw thee wants wi' me, get forrard wi' thi deein'. He scrat his yed, he rubbed his e'e, an' then he donned his breeches. How a Matty gets as fawse, said he, as one o' Pendle witches. If ever Aw'm to muster wit, it mun be now or never. Aw think Aw'll try to live a bit. It wouldn't do to lever. End of Part 5. Part 6 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Th' Goblin Parson. Th' wint were still i'th shade o' th' hill, an' stars began a glowin', i'th fadin' leet one summer neet, when th' dew were softly fawin'. Wi' weary shanks, by primrose banks, where rindlin' wheat were shinin', Aw whistlet careless, wanderin' slow, toward my cot inclinin'. Through th' woodlan' green Aw tooted keen for th' little window winkin'. Th' stars may shine, they're none as fine as Matty's candle blinkin'. O'er th' rosy hedge Aw went to th' ridge o' th' lonesome shaded plantin', to get another blink o' th' leet that set my heart a pantin'. Then down bi th' well i'th fairy dell, wi' trees aboon it knittin', where near an' fur they're nowt astir but bats i'th owleet flittin', an' fearfu' sounds that rustlet round i' mony a goblin flitter, as swarming dark to fleysome wark they flew wi' fiendish titter. Theer, reet anent Aw geet a glent that brought a shiver o'er me, for fair i'th track there's summat black come creepin' on afore me. It wur not clear, but it wur theer, wi' gloomy shadow blendin', now black an' slim, now grey an' grim, wi' noather side nor endin'. Cowd drops were tremblin' on me brew, as theer Aw stood belated. Aw durstn't turn, Aw durstn't goo, but shut my een an' waited. An' just as Aw begun to pray, there come fro' th' creepin' spectre a weel-known voice that said, "Well, James!" 'Twere nowt but th' village rector. "Well, James," said he, "I'm fain to see your pew so weel attended, but then you shouldn't fa' asleep afore my sarmon's ended. To drowsy ears it's useless quite to scatter holy teichin'. Why don't you bring a bit o' snuff an' tak' it while I'm preichin'?" "Well, well," said Aw, "there's mony a way o' keepin' een fro' closin'. A needle might keep th' body wake, an' th' soul might still be dozin'. But this receipt would set it reet. If th' mitcher wur a warmon, yo'd get some stingin' gospel snuff, an' put it into th' sarmon." He stared like mad, but th' good owd lad then gripped my hond warm‐hearted, an' said, "Yo're reet, good neet," an' that wur how we parted. It touched my heart, an' made it smart, he spoke so mild an' pratty. Aw blessed him as he walked away, an' then went whoam to Matty. Come, Jamie, let's undo thi shoon. Come, Jamie, let's undo thi shoon, an' don summat dry on thi feet. We're toilin' i'th sheawr up an' down, Aw'm flayed at thi stockin's a weet. An' here wi' my young uns i'th neest, Aw've been heark'nin' to th' patter o' th' rain, an' longin' for th' wanderin' brid to comfort my spirits again. To-day, when it pelted at th' height, Aw ston it no longer, said I, for really it didn't look reet to cower under cover so dry. So though it were rainin' like mad, Aw thought, for my heart gav a swell, come down as to will, but yon lad shall not have it all to hissel'. So whippin' me bucket i'th rain, Aw gath bits o' windows a swill, An' though I geet drenched to my skin, Aw're better content wi' mysel'. But thou ston's theer smilin' o'th floor, Like a sunflower drippin' wi' wheat. Eh, Jamie, thou know'st, Aw'm sure, How fain Aw'm to see thee to neet. Eh, lass, what's a shower to me? Aw've plenty o' sun in my breast. My wark keeps me hearty an' free, An' gi's me a relish for rest. Aw'm no made o' sugar nor saut, That melts wi' a steepin' o' rain. An' as for my jacket, it's nowt, Aw'd dry it bi th' leet o' the e'en. Come sit thee down close by my side, Aw'm full as a cricket wi' glee, Aw'm troubl't wi' nothin' but pride, An' own it owin' to thee. Thou trim little pattern for wives, Come, give a poor body a kiss, Aw wish every storm of our lives May end up as nicely as this. While taking a whift o' me pipe. While taking a whift o' me pipe t'other neet, a thought trickled into me pate, That sulking because everything isn't sweet Is nobbut a foolish conceit. If mon had been made for a bit of a spree, An' th' world were a marlockin' schoo', Wi' nought nobbut hatin' an' drinkin' an' glee, An' haliday gam to go through, He'd sicken afore his frolic were o'er, An' feel he'd been born for a foo'. Poor cratur, he's o' discontentment an' doubt, Whatever his fortin may be, He's just like a choilt 'at goes cryin' about, "Oh, Johnny's more treacle nor me!" One minute he's troubl't, next minute he's fain, An' then they're so blended i' one, It's hard to tell whether he's laughin' through pain, Or whether he's poutin' for fun. He stumbles an' grumbles, he struggles an' juggles, He capers a bit, an' he's gone. It's wise to be humble i' prosperous ways, For trouble may chance to be nee. It's wise for to struggle wi' sorrowful days, Till sorrow breeds sensible glee. He's rich that, contented wi' little, lives weel, An' nurses that little to more. He's weel off 'at's rich, if he nobbut can feel He's brother to those that are poor. An' to him 'at does fair, though his living be bare, Some comfort shall ever be sure. We'n nobbut a lifetime o' peace here below, An' th' longest is very soon spent. There's summat aboon measures cuts for us o'er, An' th' most on 'em nobbut a fent. Lung or short, rough or fine, little matter for that, We'll make th' best o' th' stuff till it's done. An' when it leets out to get riven a bit, Let's darn it as weel as we con. When th' order comes to us to doff these old clothes, There'll surely be new uns to don. God bless thee, silver yure. Jone, lad, though the hand's like rousty iron to feel, There's very few i'th lond who're like to gripe as weel. They'll never dee i'th dumps because o' bein' poor, Thy good old king o' trumps, God bless thee, silver yure. Poo up to th' side o' th' hob, an' rest thee wheer he shanks, An' dunnot fret thee nob wi' fortin an' a pranks. These folk 'at's proud an' rich may tremble at a frown, They'n further far nor sich as thee to tumble down. Thou never longs for wine, nor dainties rich an' rare, For sich a life as thine can sweeten simple fare. Contented wi' thy meal, thys wit enough to know That daisies live an' weel where tulips connot grow. An' though thy clooas are rough, an' gettin' very owd, They're none so weel enough to keep thy limbs fro' cowd. A foo would pine away in sich a suit as thine, But thou'rt the stuff to may a fustian jacket fine. A tattered clout may lap, a very noble prize, A king may be, by hap, a beggar i' disguise. When ton has laughed his feast, and t'other done his crust, Then which is which at last, these little piles o' dust? An' though thy share of life may seem a losing game, Thah's striven fair i'th strife, an' kept a decent aim. No mouse nooks i' thi mind, nor malice i' thi breast, Thah's still been true an' kind, an' trusted fate wi' th' rest. Through trouble, toil, an' wrung, thah's whistle't at thi wark, Thah's wrostle't life so lung, thi lambs are gettin' stark. But sich a heart as thine's a never failin' friend, It cheers a mon's decline, an' keeps it sweet to th' end. Thy banner'll soon be furl'd, an' then they'n ha' to tell, He travelled the dirty world, and never soilty sell. And when I come to thee, and death has ta'en his tow, I hope to lee to thee. God bless thee snowy bow. Margit's comin. Oh, Sam, whatever does to mean? Oh, see that theer i'th nook again. We're over Jill, that's 9 or 10, hast dropped into a 14. I wonder how a mon can sit and waste his bit o' wage and wit. If I were thee, wife, I'd make the flit, wi' little time to start in. But Owd, your Margit's up i'th town. I heard her ax for thee at th' Crown, and just meet now Aw scumpert down. It's true as aught i'th Bible. Thou knows ye, Margit, weel of owd, her tongue it makes my fair go cowd, sin th' day who broke me nose i'th fowd wi' th' edge o'th porritch thibble. It's 10 to 1 who'll co in here, and poo thee out o'th corner cheer, so sit fur back where th' running's clear, or keep me een o'th window. Thou'll mind the hits, and when Aw shout, be limber-legged and lam us out, and though hoo'll not believe or doubt, Aw'll swear Aw never sin thee. Aw bite me tongue, I will bith mon, Aw plug me ears up till hoo's gone. A grewing tree could hardly stun a savage woman flightin'. If folk were nobbut o' i'th mind to make the bits o' booses kind, there'd be less wandering out to find a corner to be quiet in. It's nearly 3 o'clock by th' chime, this ale o' Jem's is very prime. Aw'll cower my down till baggin' time, and have a reach o' bacco. Aw guess tha's heard o' Clinker lad, and lilting Jenny gettin' wed, and Collop goin' wrang i'th yed, but that's nought mich to crack o'er. There's news that chaps at wore a crown are gettin' powlet up and down. They're puncin' 'em fro' town to town, like footboars in a pasture. Young Garibaldi's gan 'em silk, th' owd lad he's fairly made 'em swilk, and now they sen he's sellin' milk to raise new cloos for Eyster. There's some a creepin' out o' th' slutch, and some a gettin' down i'th Dutch, but by th' mon, Aw never yerd o' sich a world for change o' fortin. They gooin' groanin' out o' th' seat, they comin' cryin' into th' leet, but Owd, Aw yerd o' Monday neet a tale about a quotin'. Poo up, Aw'll tell it if Aw con. Tha knows that little bow-legged mon. But eh, owd lad, your Margit's yon, hoo's comin' like a racer. Some foo has put her upo' th' track. Cut, Sam, hoo'll have us in a crack. Aw said hoo'd come, let's run out th' back. Bith mass, Aw dar not face her. End of part 6. Part 7 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Hard Weather, Winter 1878-9. Good lorjus days, what times are these for clemmin' and for cowd, for doleful looks and wintry nooks where folk are poor and owd, for hopeless care and dark despair and gloomy want o' trust, for fireless hearths and cupboards bare and bitter want o' crust. But bide, lads, bide for a happier tide, and keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Through thick and thin we'll ne'er give in, there's a bit o' blue sky aboon. There never were sich mournful cries of famine yerd afore. John Chinaman's been clemmed to death, and India's suffered sore. Your mills may weel be stonnin' still, your markets weel be slack, for when folk's nipped for want o' mate, they'n nought to spare for th' back. But bide, lads, bide for a happier tide, and keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Through thick and thin we ne'er give in, there's a bit o' blue sky aboon. Sich strikes and rows and breakages there never yet were known, sich frettin' and sich chettin' and sich bitter starvin' moan. These knavish pranks i' trusted banks are spreadin' ruin round, and every hour the trading ranks are crashin' to the ground. But bide, lads, bide for a happier tide, and keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Through thick and thin we'll ne'er give in, there's a bit o' blue sky aboon. Whilst trade declines and taxes rise, and ruin stalks the land, we groan to see the good we prize crushed by a rampant band. 'tis ours to watch each bloody fray, and mad gunpowder plot, and win the day whoever may, 'tis ours to pay the shot. But bide, lads, bide, for a happier tide, and keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Through thick and thin we ne'er give in, there's a bit o' blue sky aboon. Though th' bitter air and living bare gets keener every day, and th' emptier folks' pockets are, the more they han to pay, though strikes and wars and swindling tricks are sending th' wide world wrong, yet come what will, this shall be still the burden of my song. But bide, lads, bide, for a happier tide, and keep your hearts out o' your shoon. Through thick and thin we'll ne'er give in, there's a bit o' blue sky aboon. Come, limber lads. Come, limber lads, so leet and gay, on fain wi' wick and hearty, to-neet we'n have a holiday, to-morn we's find it warty. Like sailors thrut bi th' stormy main, into a nook together, 1 hour o' friendly fun, and then again for wind and weather. Owd Time, though when a mon's i' th' dumps he's seldom in a hurry, nips up his shins and off he stumps the minute one gets merry. Life's road, though not as dree as his, is harder wark to travel. One leets a few sich nooks as this, and th' journey ends i'th gravel. Then clink and sing, me lucky lads, and frisk it while you're able. There's cheapin' layrocks round the board, and plenty upo' th' table. Come, crack your jokes, and let 'em leet o' sly deception scornin'. We'n prank it out wi' glee to-neet, and strike to wark i'th mornin'. If o' that wanders under th' sky be grass that cannot linger, let every mortal blade that's dry cock up his little finger. Then fill for him that's full o' fun, and let it be a thumper, and th' lad that thinks he's nearly done, we'n ruse him wi' a bumper. And now, to end this friendly rant, turn up your tots to th' ceiling. Let's hope that he may ne'er feel scant that never scant a feeling. Good luck to th' lad that wants a wife wi' rosy chens to bind him, and th' mon that wants a foo, bi'th life, i'th looking glass he'll find him. The Garland. Air, Cupid's Garden. 'Twas when the dawn of morning began to stir i'th sky, I donned mysel' to wander, afore the dew were dry. To wander in the gay greenwood, reet early I did rove. I could not sleep upon my bed, for thinking of me love. Down in a bonny dingle, where sometimes we did stray, our vows of love to mingle, at close of summer day. It's there, where oft among her hair, the flowers of spring I've wove, I sat me down to think upon the girl that I do love. It's there I made a garland, my darling for to don, and the posies that were in it, they shined like the sun. The dewy posies, wild and sweet, all in the leafy grove. It breaks my heart to think upon the girl that I do love. The cowslip and the speedwell, with the dewdrop in its ee, and the wild rose and the bluebell, they blend so bonnily. And the honeysuckle, wandering wild, with violets blue I wove, they made me for to think upon the girl that I do love. And when I pooed me posies, the small birds they did sing, and when I wove me garland, they made the woods to ring. On every tree the wild birds' glee rang through the leafy grove, as I came away at dawn of day, still thinking of my love. Oh, the morning sun it rises, to cheer my heart's delight, and the silver moon she wanders among the clouds at night, and the twinkling stars that look so fine, all in the heavens above. At wark or play, be neet and day, I'm thinking of my love. These bonny bits o' childer. Air, has sorrow thy young days shaded? Never tell me that childer are tiresome. They're the best little craters alive, and i'th beautiful country aboon us, they throng as a hummer-bee hive. The sunlight of heaven beams round them, and seldom a mortal can meet, in this changeable world that we're born to, with aught so unsullied and sweet. Never tell me that childer are tiresome, they're the best little craters alive, and i'th beautiful country aboon us, they throng as a hummer-bee hive. With their prattling talk and their marlocks, they keepen a body's heart green, an' i'th gloomiest hour o' life's winter, I can sun me i'th leet o' their een. With sound o' their sweet chicken music, they maken my little coat ring, like a cageful o' twitterin' angels, that's sent down from heaven to sing. Never tell me that childer are tiresome, they're the best little craters alive, an' i'th beautiful country aboon us, they're throng as a hummer-bee hive. An' when I grow weary wi' thinkin', an' everything round me seems dark, they keepen my spirits fro' sinkin', an' sendin' me back to my wark. For I feel there's something to live for, though everything else should depart, an' there's nowt i'th wild world so precious as treasures that sweeten the heart. Never tell me that children are tiresome, they're the best little craters alive, an' i'th beautiful country aboon us, they're as throng as a hummer-bee hive. An' when eventide deepens around us, an' I get 'em laid snugly to rest, I sometimes creep up again softly to look at 'em lyin' i'th nest. An' then th' quiet tears come down dreepin' as I sit by the bedside alone, for the face of a little child sleepin' would soften the heart of a stone. Then never say childer are tiresome, they're th' best little craters alive, an' i'th beautiful country aboon us, they're throng as a hummer-bee hive. Oh, the sunshine of heaven enfolds them, and seldom a mortal can meet, in this changeable world that we're born to, with aught so unsullied and sweet. Then never say childer are tiresome, they're th' best little craters alive, an' i'th beautiful country aboon us, they're throng as a hummer-bee hive. To my old fiddle. Oh, David was a famous king, and maisterman o' singers. His fiddle was a witchin' thing, when touched by David's fingers. But David never stirred a string to melody as fine, oh, and David's fiddle couldn't sing like this owd brid o' mine, oh. My bonny little angel neest, so tender, sweet, and funny, I wouldn't swap my music kist to own a mint o' money. I sometimes think it's gradely wick, the singin' birds inside on't, and not a string but swarmin' thick wi' little elves astride on't. For it can sob and moan and sigh, and it can pout and whimper, and it can coax and wheedle sly, and it can lisp and simper, and it can laugh and crow and shout, and it can wail so keen, oh, folk connot see their gate about for th' waiter in their een, oh. The wood were groon i fairyland that th' bits o' pegs were made on, and every nook on't thrills wi' life the minute that it's played on. For th' younger end o' fairy folk, they dancin' upo' th' bridge on't, they caperin' upo' th' fiddle bow, and ridin' upo' th' ridge on't. As I go tweedlin' up and down, I meet wi' welcome free, oh. There's never a mon that comes to town that over's fain to see, oh. For th' childer bringin' me butter cakes to tickle up my timber, and fuddlers bringin' me gills of ale to make me elbow limber. Me darlin' little singin' bird, we'n both grown owd together, and we'n been kind and faithful friends through dark and sunny weather. And though nought else should make a moan, the day that I shall dee, oh, if they'n let this little brid alone, it'll sing a hymn for me, oh. It's time to be jogging away. Air, Granna Whale. When pitchers are empty and pouches are bare, it's time to be jogging away. When they grieve in the heart and they stint in the fare, it's time to be jogging away. When they snapping and fratchin' and peevishly catchin' at th' best that a body can say, when love's ta'en amiss with a winterly kiss, it's time to be jogging away. At the close of the day when the sun has gone down, it's time to be jogging away. When night draws a curtain o' deepening frown, it's time to be jogging away. When the sky has no moon, and from dark clouds aboon no star shows a glimmering ray, when the journey is lone, and the gathering winds moan, it's time to be jogging away. When slander is loud, and when tricksters are proud, it's time to be jogging away. When truth meets with slight, and when craft wins the fight, it's time to be jogging away. When rascals grow bold, and when cronies grow cold, and cross to the opposite way, When foemen look sly, and when neighbours look shy, it's time to be jogging away. When the night brings no rest, and the daylight no cheer, it's time to be jogging away. When the heart's full of pain, and the head full of care, it's time to be jogging away. When favours are sold, and affection grows cold, and kindness begins to decay. When friendship has fled, and we live with the dead, it's time to be jogging away. When the shank's growing slim, and the eyes growing dim, it's time to be jogging away. When the foot totters slow, and the pulse flutters low, it's time to be jogging away. When the blood's getting thin, and we wearied wi' din, it draws to the close of the day. Then farewell to all, for the passing bells call. It's time to be jogging away. End of Part 7. Part 8 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Little cattle, little care. Laddie, good dog, the day wark's done. The sun's low in the west. The lingering wild birds, one by one, are flitting to the nest. Mild evening's fairy fingers close the curtain of the day, and the drowsy landscape seeks repose in twilight shadows grey. Little cattle, little care, lie thee down, laddie. We never owned a yard o' ground, we'n little wealth in hand, but thee and me can sleep as sound as th' richest folk i'th land. And when they're all alike laid down and lapped in dreamless snooze, between a monarch and a clown there's not a pin to choose. Little cattle, little care, lie thee down, laddie. Let the miser hug his glittering prey, and think his joys complete. Let him root among it all the day, and count it o'er at Neet. He can trail it but to th' end o' th' road, where life's short tale is told. Then death takes off his golden load, and leaves him in the cold. Little cattle, little care, lie thee down, laddie. Then come, good dog, the day wark's done, we'll let the world roll by. There's never a king below the sun as happy as thou and I. For though kings lie on beds of down, sweet sleep they seldom find, and there's not a jewel in all the crown that's worth a quiet mind. Little cattle, little care, lie thee down, laddie. Cradle Song. Th' child cries i'th cradle, th' cake bruns o'th stone, th' cow moos i'th milking gap at th' end o'th lone. The cat purrs o'th hearthstone, th' clock ticks i'th nook, th' kettle sings o'th hob, and th' pon hangs on th' hook. Th' woint roars i'th chimbly, brings down the soot. Mam knits and sings, and rocks with her foot. Nan's off a churnin', Dick's gone to th' barn, lap little Billy up to keep him warm. Round Billy's curly yed good fairies play, tentin' his little bed till break o' day. One day brings sunshine, th' next day brings rain, no day brings Billy's dad back here again. Sleep, little darlin', sleep, God watch o'er thee, thou'rt o' that's left i'th world to comfort me. The Little Doffer. A merry little doffer lad come down to Shapper's Mill to see if he could get a shop. He said his name were Bill. Bill what, me lad? th' o'erlooker said. Art a good note beside? Oi, aye, said th' lad. They call me things, sometimes it's bad to bide. But what's thy feyther's name, me lad? Thou'll surely tell me that, said th' lad. Some call him Appledad, his gradely name's Owd Hat. Me Uncle Joe's called Flopper Chops, and sometimes Owd Betide. They call him those at th' waving shops, and I know nought beside. Said th' o'erlooker, I know Owd Joe, he waves for Willy-ground. But what dun they call thee, me lad, when they corn at dinner time? Th' lad grinned and said, They never han to call me then, no fear. said th' o'erlooker. How's that, my lad? Said th' lad. I'm allers theer. My lad, thou looks a lively cowt, keen as a cross-cut saw. Short yure, sharp teeth, a twinkling ee, and a little hungry maw. But wheer hast ta been watchin' at? What's brought thee down our way? Said th' lad. I watched for Tommy Platt. He gan wi' th' bag to-day. Thou's brought thy character, I guess, says th' lad. Yo rang, I doubt. Says th' o'erlooker to th' lad. How's this? Says th' lad. I'm better bout. Said th' o'erlooker. I never see sich a whelp sin' I were born. But I'll try what I can make o' thee. Come to thee wark to morn. Hey, lads, hey! Oh, I had fidgin' fain to drop my wark when gloamin' shades come softly down, and off I went at th' edge o' dark to th' bonniest lass in Ratchter town. I were i' such a flutter to tap the gate that I'd hardly time to tee my shoon, for my heart beat wild with love elate, and my tinglin' feet kept time to th' tune. Sing hey, lads, hey! Sing ho, lads, ho! What's to betide us, who can know? On wings of bliss, away I flew, o'er moor and moss and posied lea. I started mony a brid for th' bow, but never a brid as blithe as me. And when I come to th' foaming brook, bonk full o' water, spreading wide, I took a sprint, went o'er like woint, and let a yard at t'other side. Sing hey, lads, hey! Sing ho, lads, ho! What's to betide us, who can know? At seat o' th' gable end o' th' cot, I rubbed my hands and marlocked round, and I trimmed me clothes frae yed to foot, for I felt myself a fairy ground. But when I met wi' fickle Kate, who lost no time to let me see that hoo'd set a cap another gate, and who wanted no more truck wi' me. Sing hey, lads, hey! Sing ho, lads, ho! What's to betide us, who can know? I hung about a while, and I come trailin' warm bi th' leet o' th' moon, and at every step I hove a sigh, for my heart had sunk into my shoon. And when I getten a mile o' th' gate, I sat me down by th' owd draw-well, and I felt i' such a doleful state that I'd hove a mind to drown mysel'. Sing hey, lads, hey! Sing ho, lads, ho! What's to betide us, who can know? What ails yon lad? My feyther said. There's summat has ta'en him sadly down, for he sits i' th' nook, and he hangs his yed, and I doubt he's lost his gate to th' town. Come, Robin, don't tak thy luck so ill. Keep up thy heart and caper round, for if one love winnot, another will, and there's plenty o' lasses left o' th' ground. Sing hey, lads, hey! Sing ho, lads, ho! What's to betide us, who can know? Toothsome advice. Oh, Nanny, thou'rt a heart o' gear. Do, pray tha, go peep into th' glass. Thou looks dirty and dowly and queer. Whatever's to do wi' the lass? Bless you, Mary, if folk nobbut knew the trouble I have wi' yon lad. He's at th' alehouse again with owd Crew. It's enough to drive ony mon mad. Eh, my wench, I'm mitch owder than thee, and it grieves me to see thee like this. So pray thee now, hearken to me, and don't go and tak it amiss. Thou once were nice looking, and mild, and tidily done too as well, but now thou'rt quite sluttish and wild, about both the house and thysel'. It's hard to keep things reet with aught that a body can manage to do, but a mon's sure to stray when he's nought but dirt and foul looks to come to. If thou wants to keep Jamie i'th house, thou mun bait th' trap wi' comfort, my lass. Or there's lots o' nooks, canty and crouse, where he'll creep with his pipe and his glass. Thou mun keep his whoam pleasant and sweet, and everything fit to be seen. Thou mun keep thy hearth cheerful and breet. Thou mun keep thisel' tidy and clean. A good-temper't wife will entice to a fireside that's cosy and trim. Men liken to see the wives nice, and I'm sure it's so wi' your Jim. Thou must have his meals cooked to his mind, at th' reet time and dacently laid. Tak' pains, and thou'll very soon find how nice a plain dish can be made. Good cooking keeps liking alive, with a woman that's noan short o' wit, and there's never a creator i'th hive but's fond of a toothsome tit-bit. Eh, Mary, I'm nowt of a cook, but just rough and ready, you known. As for roasting and boiling bi th' book, I'm o' little more use than a stone. Don't thee bothit an' hie thought wi' me. I'll soon put the right if thou'll come, an' I'll larn ther some cookin', thou'll see, that'll help to keep Jamie at whoam. Cock Robin. Air. With Wellington we'll go. Cock Robin come o' dacent folk. He was the village pride, the tightest, sweetest, soundest lad that stepped the moorland side. Fro' top to toe he stood 6 feet. His voice was loud and clear, but he could whisper low and sweet when a bonny lass was near. Cock Robin had a witchin' tongue, it made folk laugh and cry, and he won the hearts of owd and young with love leet in his eye. And as he wandered through the fields he made the valley ring, and th' country lasses pricked their ears to hear young Robin sing. Young Robin was the blithest cowt that frolicked on the green, the king o' the lads i'th fowd, the darlin' o' the scene. With happy heart in nature's lap he wandered wild and free, though many a sweet lass set her cap to catch his twinkling ee. But there was one dear lass that bore from all the world the bell, and touched his heart for evermore with love's delightful spell. With modest charms, unknown to guile, she made her conquests sweet, and brought the roving minstrel down to warble at her feet. Now Robin feels the mystic power of true love here below, and Robin owns the richest dower that angels can bestow. He flits no more from bough to bough, his soarings wild have ceased, his songs are all for Mally now, and th' little brids dith neest. End of Part 8. Part 9 of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Owd Roddle. Owd Roddle were tattered and torn, with a blate and gowly ee. He a womble and slap and unshorn, a flaysome cowt to see. Houseless, without a friend, the poor owd wandering slave crawled on to his journey's end, wi' one of his feet i'th grave. Poor Owd Roddle. Owd Roddle were fond of ale, fro' tap to tap went he, and this were his endless tale: "Who'll ston a gill for me?" He crept into drinking shops at dawning o' morning leet. He lived upo' balmy slops, and slept in a tub at Neet. Poor Owd Roddle. As Roddle one morning tide were trailin' his limbs to town, a twinkle i'th slutch he spied. Egad, it's a silver crown! Now, Roddle, go buy a shirt and a pair o' shoon. A fig for your shoon and shirts, me throttle's as dry as a hoon. Poor Owd Roddle. Come, bring us a Willfield quart, I gonna to buy the tot. Today I've a chance to start wi' a foaming full-grown pot. This crown has a jovial look, I'm flayed it'll melt too fast, but I'll live like a king i'th nook as long as me crown'll last. Poor Owd Roddle. But he met with a friendly touch that ended his mortal woes, for he fell in a fatal clutch that turned up his weary toes. Though they missed him i'th nooks o' th' town where penniless topers meet, nobody knew how he'd broken down, nor where he'd crept out o' seat. Poor Owd Roddle. In a churchyard corner lone, under a nameless mound, with a friendless poor athrone, Roddle lies, sleeping sound. And the kind moon shines at night on the weary wanderer's bed, and the sun and rain keep bright his grassy quilt o'erhead. Poor Owd Roddle. My Gronfaither Willie. My gronfaither Willie were born o'th moorside, in a cosy owd house, where he lived till he died. He was strong-limbed and hearty, and manly and kind, and as blithe as a lark, for he'd nought on his mind. Derry down. His wife were th' best cratur that ever were made, and they'd 3 bonny lasses as ever broke braid, and 5 strapping lads, they look grand in a row, for they'n 6 feet apiece, that makes 10 yards, o. Derry down. My gronfaither's house were a cosy owd shop, and as sweet as a posy fro' bottom to top, Parlour, loom-house, and dairy, bedrooms, great and small, and a shining owd kitchen, the best nook of a'. Derry down. He'd cows in a pasture and sheep o'th moorside, and a nice bit of garden with th' owd feller's pride. With his looms and his cattle he'd plenty o' wark, for his lasses and lasses, fro' dayleet to dark. Derry down. A grey-headed layrock, a threescore and 12, he'd weave and he'd warble, he'd root and he'd delve, fro' daybreak to sunset, then creep to his nook, at the sweet ingleside, for a tot and a smook. Derry down. And fro' th' big end o' Pendle to Robin Hood's bed, fro' Skiddaw to Tandle's owd grove tufted yed, fro' th' 2 lads to Tooter's, there's never a pot that's sin as much glee as me gronfaither's tot. Derry down. Fro' Swarthmoor i' Furnace, where th' dew upo' th' fells keeps twinkle to th' tinkle of Ulverston bells, fro' Black Combe to Black Snedge, no cup mon could fill did more good and less harm than my gronfaither's gill. Derry down. As I journey through life, may this fortin be mine, to be upreet and downreet fro' youth to decline, and walk like a mon through whatever betide, like my gronfaither Willie that lived o'th moorside. Derry down. Come to your porritch. One bumper at parting. Come, lads, and sit down to your porritch. I hope it'll help you to thrive, for nobody can live as they should do, bout summat to keep 'em alive. We're snug with a dacent thatch o'er us, while round us the winter winds blow. Be thankful for what there's afore us, there's some that ha' nothing at all. Then come and sit down to your porritch. I hope it'll help you to thrive, for nobody can live as they should do, bout something to keep 'em alive. Sometimes I've a pain in me stomach that's common to folk that are poor, but I've mostly a mouthful o' summat that suits me complaint to a yure. Come beef suet dumplin' or lobscouse, come ale a cowd waiter I'll sing, and a lump o' good cheese and a jannock, it makes me as proud as a king. Then come and sit down to your porritch, I hope it'll help you to thrive, for nobody can live as they should do, bout summat to keep 'em alive. There's mony poor craters are dainty, and wanton they're proven made fine, but if it be good and there's plenty, I'm never so tickle wi' mine. It's aitin' that keeps a man waggin', and hunger that butters his bread, and when a lad snighs at his baggin', it's time for to send him to bed. Then come and sit down to your porritch, I hope it'll help you to thrive, for nobody can live as they should do, bout summat to keep 'em alive. Some folk are both greedy and lither, then guttle but watch noan at aw, and their life's just a comfortless swither, be powlet and pound to and fro. Then watch away, lads, till you're weary, it helps to keep everything reet. You'll find the day run very cheery, and sleep like a peg-top at Neet. Then come and sit down to your porritch, I hope it'll help you to thrive, for nobody can live as they should do, bout summat to keep 'em alive. Jone, owd brid. Jone, owd brid, bringing some ale, I'm fain to see the wick and wheel. We make this court ring like a bell with jolly-hearted sound, lads. We just come lilting, full o' glee, from th' moorland tops so wild and free. Come clear this floor and let 'em see us dance a Cheshire round, lads. There's Jonathan can sing a song that's 24 verses long, and Twittering Ben caps owd and young for merry country cracks, mon. There's Thistle Jack, there's Limber Joe, he'll rustle out i'th town and fo'. Come Cut and Longtail, he licks o'er, and lays 'em on their backs, mon. There's Ned with pipes and Curly Bill, and Tum and Nels fro' Wardle Hill, and Moorland Dan for th' Blue Pot's Rill, and Fither-footed Dick, mon. Thou may wander far and pick and choose where Rindles run and heather grews. Thou'll find no blither couts than those for here to Windle Nick, mon. We're brown as hazel nuts with sun, for th' harvest's o'er and th' hay's weel won, and every heart runs o'er wi' fun, and every lad's in prime, mon. There e'en a wit wi' merry leet, we'n trip it round wi' nimble feet, wi' reet good will we'n blithely greet, this bonny summer time, mon. Then bring a foaming tankard in, and weet your whistles and begin. This roof shall ring with jovial din, It's haliday to-day, lads. God bless owd England's hearts of oak, her toilin' swarms an' sturdy folk. May they never yield to tyrant's yoke. I will both sing and pray, lads. End of Poems and Songs in the Lancashire Dialect by Edwin Waugh. Read by Phil Benson.